5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
Just take up the left, it's nominal.
HV battery discharge is nominal.
And there we have it. Our 25th Electron launch vehicle is off the pad for this mission and progressing well on its way to low Earth orbit. Soon the vehicle will approach the point in its journey when it experiences the most amount of stress, maximum aerodynamic pressure, which is known as max Q.
And there we have it. We have word from Mission Control that we can confirm that Electron has successfully passed through max Q and is continuing on its southeastern trajectory off the coast of New Zealand. The first stage's Rutherford engines are firing perfectly as we come up to the next major milestone ahead of the first separation event for Electron.
AOS, Chatham Station.
We're approaching main engine cutoff, or MECO. This is when Electron throttles down just a bit before shutting off those 9 Rutherford engines on stage 1 we mentioned earlier. This reduction in thrust allows for a clean separation of the first and second stages before the singular Rutherford engine on the second stage fires up and takes the satellites the rest of the way into orbit. We should see both of those actions on screen and hear the call-outs from our operators and Mission Control shortly.
MECO confirmed.
Stage separation confirmed.
Stage 2 ignition.
There we go. We have confirmed a successful transition from the first to second stages of Electron's flight, with MECO, stage separation and second stage ignition all nominal. You can now see the orange glow of the space-optimized Rutherford engine as it carries on into space.
The protective shell at the top of Electron, known as the payload fairing, protects the satellites as the vehicle launches through Earth's atmosphere. Since we've now cleared the lower atmosphere, those satellites don't need that protection anymore. In fact, we need to jettison that protective shell so we can safely deploy the satellites to low Earth orbit.
Bottom holding nominal.
There goes the payload fairing. Black Sky's satellites are now exposed to space, no longer needing this shell to protect them, as Electron has already punched through Earth's atmosphere to take them to their orbital destination. We've got a short time gap now between this latest event and the next one coming up for Electron's second stage, which involves swapping out the batteries that power the second stage Rutherford engine. The mission is continuing nominally as we approach that next milestone, with the second stage traveling at nearly 9,000 kilometers an hour at an altitude of 139 kilometers.
If you've just joined us, we've had a great start to today's mission so far. Electron successfully cleared the pad at Launch Complex 1 just a few moments ago, and we're now well on our way to space, having completed a successful pass through max Q, main engine cutoff, and stage separation to reach this point now in the mission. Electron's second stage, with the Black Sky satellites on board, is headed to low Earth orbit, 430 kilometers above Earth, where they'll join the rest of Black Sky's constellation of Earth-observing smallsats.
As we continue without missing a beat, Electron is currently coasting in its second stage of flight before our kick stage kicks in
Stage
and takes those
nominal.
2 Black Sky global satellites to where they need to go. Mission Control is reporting all systems remain healthy on the vehicle as it travels at nearly 12,000 kilometers per hour.
Back to the mission on your screen, we're coming up to a milestone you'll see used only on Electron, the swap out of batteries that our Rutherford engines draw their energy from to continue operating their pumps. The vehicle has run through the set of batteries we started with at stage separation, and so now the second stage of the vehicle needs to swap over to a fresh battery to keep things going. We call this move the battery hot swap. We should hear that call come from Mission Control shortly, but keep an eye on your screen too, as sometimes you can catch a glimpse of them falling away.
Seconds remaining.
HV battery discharge nominal, approaching hot swap.
Starting throttle down.
Hot swap successful.
Battery Jason.
And there goes the call for a successful battery hot swap. You've seen the shiny silver object on your screen falling away from the second stage engine. Electron continues well onto its target
Okay,
430
yes, it's safe.
kilometers orbit, traveling at a speed of 16,000 kilometers per hour and an altitude of 200 kilometers.
HV battery discharge holding
Electron
nominal.
is currently in its second stage burn on the way to low Earth orbit to deliver Black Sky's payloads. We know that Black Sky's constellation can be used by all sorts of groups and
Stage two
organizations
propulsion
between
holding
government, commercial, and aid. But what does that actually look like on the ground? To give you some idea, Black Sky's AI-powered constellation was recently used to evaluate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on shipping and supply chain logistics around the world.
Coming up next will be second engine cutoff, or SECO, on Electron's stage 2. This manoeuvre follows relatively the same procedure as main engine cutoff, where the Rutherford engine on the second stage will throttle down before shutting off, ahead of separation between the second stage and the kick stage.
There will be a bit of a gap between kick stage separation and payload deployment, as this stage separation places the kick stage in an elliptical orbit of Earth first. We'll explain what happens then, after we receive confirmation from Mission Control, first of SECO, and stage separation.
Entering burnout detect.
Guidance is in toner, 27 seconds remaining.
SECO.
And great news there from Mission Control with a successful SECO. The kick stage is now separated ahead of payload deployment, which is set to take place in the next 45 minutes or so. Due to the innovative payload design intended to keep Electron lean and efficient, we won't have live video of payload deployment for this mission. But we will be back to listen out for those final few calls from Mission Control, as well as watch an animated view of the end of the mission to visualize what's happening up there in low Earth orbit.
We'll take a bit of a break now, and we will see you back here in time for payload deployment in about 40 minutes or so. Stay tuned.
It's now T plus 52 minutes as we welcome you back to the live broadcast of RocketLab's 25th Electron launch. Felicity will take us through a bit of a mission recap and what has occurred so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Without mission a beat, this mission lifted off the pad at RocketLab Launch Complex 1 at 0141 New Zealand time or 1241 UTC. Electron had a clean pass through max Q, main engine cutoff, first and second stage separation, and then second engine cutoff and final stage separation of the kick stage. This kick stage is carrying today's pair of Black Sky satellites to low Earth orbit and is now coming up on payload deployment. Soon we'll see the last 3 events in this mission.
As we mentioned before the break, the Curie engine will ignite to position the kick stage in a circular orbit ahead of payload deployment. Then the first Black Sky satellite will separate from the kick stage at just the right spot at 430 kilometers altitude, next to the top hat extension structure that kept that first satellite attached to the kick stage while protecting the second satellite beneath it will be ejected. This then makes way for the deployment of the second and final satellite for this mission into its orbital plane. Those 3 events should happen within a couple minutes of each other, so let's cross over to this animated view of payload deployment to keep track of the process while listening in to Mission Control.
Upper payload deployed.
You heard it there. We now have confirmation that the first of the 2 Black Sky satellites have been successfully delivered to its new home in low Earth orbit. We'll give the satellite some space before we make the next maneuver, tipping our top hat, so to speak, to clear the path for the next satellite to deploy. That should be taking place shortly.
Payload adapter deployed.
That call out from Mission Control confirms we've had a successful separation of the upper stage extension. We're now onto the last event in payload deployment, separation of the second Gen 2 Black Sky satellite joining the other now 14 already on orbit. This should be taking place in just a few moments from now, so let's take a listen back into Mission Control.
Lower payload deployed. Mission success.
There it goes. Mission Control have confirmed the second Black Sky satellite has now successfully deployed to its new home in orbit. Welcome to space, Black Sky and spaceflight, and congratulations on a successful mission. Thank you for your continued support in this launch and over the last year.
And that completes today's 25th Electron launch, our second launch for 2022 and the first from our LC-1 Pad A this year, which now has a twin, just like those Black Sky satellites. Today's mission is another to start us off on what looks to be an exciting year ahead. For RocketLab, for our customers, and for the communities that use their satellites for everything from Earth observation and climate change research to weather monitoring, maritime surveillance, communications, and everything that keeps us more connected than ever.
With the acquisition of industry-leading technology companies Celero, PSC, Sinclair Interplanetary, and ASI, the RocketLab global family is now an end-to-end space company, delivering all of the resources and expertise needed to make space accessible to all. With Capstone, our joint mission with NASA to the Moon, launching soon, and the development of our new launch vehicle Neutron, we continue to launch to new heights as we reach for the stars. If any of what you've seen or heard today excites you and you want to find out how you can join our team, visit rocketlabusa.com.
And that's it for our broadcast today. But you can always keep in touch with us and stay in our orbit by following us on social media to see, hear, and learn about what we do here at RocketLab. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you back here next time. This is RocketLab Mission Control signing off.